Thank you for joining us. Welcome to LumioseStation.
What's up, LumioseStation, and welcome back to another episode of the Pokémon DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. Last week we covered the Dark-type Pokémon Zoroark in our episode, and I asked you guys which one of the Regi trio you wanted to see covered this week, either Regirock, Regice, or Registeel, and Registeel came out on top, so that's who we're covering this week. Now next week we have another mascot episode coming up. If you guys missed the last one, basically I'm getting another conductor from LumioseStation to come and join me for an episode, and we're going to cover a mascot or a Pokemon they're known for. Last time we had Mo and his Haxie Jirachi. Who are we going to have this time? Stay tuned till the end of the episode to find out. But for now, let's get on and start looking at Registeel. So, Registeel, it is the Iron Pokemon and number 379 in the National Pokédex, obviously appearing in Hone, and is a pure Steel type, so Steel, Iron Pokemon, that makes a lot of sense. Well, no, not really, because Steel is different from Iron, but we guys get the idea. Dimension-wise, it stands at 6 foot 3 inches tall or 1.9 meters tall, so it's a pretty big Pokemon, and it weighs 451.9 pounds or 205 kilograms. So its weight in iron makes up, it makes sense. It's a heavy metal Pokemon, it's gonna weigh a lot. So, breeding and egg group-wise, as with most legendaries, it's in the undiscovered egg group, and it is genderless, meaning it has neither male or female gender. So, yeah, basically like that. Evolution-wise, Registeel, again being a legendary, does not evolve from or into any other Pokemon, so that is fairly simple there. Then if we want to look at the base stats, okay, so straight off the bat here you can see its two highest stats are Defense and Special Defense at 150 each, which would make a lot of sense. Looking at Registeel, it's going to be a bulky Pokemon, it's made of steel, it's pretty, it's got a nice shell covering it basically, it's going to have a lot of defense. Going down from that we have then health points at 80, so its health point stat isn't brilliant, but it's not bad at all. So it can back up those defences. Then going on further down we have attack and special attack at 75 each, so in terms of which type of attack we use, we can really use either. It comes down to the move pools in the end, and with Registeel, the physical move pool does sort of peek out over the top just a bit, not by much, so you could run either really, but generally, as we'll see with the sets later on, Registeel isn't about attacking much at all. So. Then, finishing up its base stats, we have speed at 50, so it's a very slow Pokemon. It's not going to be, running around at the speed of sound. It's just sort of going to be hobbling along there. But with those high defenses, you don't really need to worry about it too much. If we take a quick look at the abilities, Registeel has two abilities, but only one of them is available. Its basic ability is Clear Body, which prevents any stat loss, which is a brilliant ability. It really doesn't need any other better ability. But its hidden ability here is Light Metal. However, this is unavailable, so until further time where it might be released, we can't use it legally. And this ability is Light Metal, which halves its weight. In terms of whether we actually want to use that, probably not. So it's really sort of a null factor here. We're going to use Clear Body. It's going to stop our defense being reduced, it's going to stop our attack being reduced, our speed being reduced even more. It's a pretty good ability all around. So let's look at its typing now. Being a pure Steel type, it's pretty good. It resists Normal, Grass, Flying, Rock, Bug, Psychic, Ice, Dragon, Steel, and Fairy type moves. That's a lot of moves it's resisting, so really can't complain there. It's weak to 3 types still, which are Fire, Fighting, and Ground, which, that's fair enough. It's got to have some weaknesses. And it's immune to the Poison type as well, being then taking neutral from Water, Electric, Ghost, and Dark. So all in all, it's a very good type, especially for defensive Pokemon like Registeel, because you can take loads of damage, you're immune to one type, and you're going to take half damage from another 10 types, and then from the remaining few, some you take neutral from, some you're weak to, but generally, you've got a good typing there. So the moves for Registeel, as I mentioned, its physical move pool does peek out over its special one just slightly, so we're only going to be looking at physical attacking moves here, but I will mention 1 or 2 special moves it has, but other moves as well are being covered. At level 17 in X and Y or level 25 in Auras, it can learn Curse. Now, because it's not a ghost type, Curse is going to increase its attack, increase its defense, and lower its speed. So generally this is another reason why its physical move pool is generally used a bit more, because Curse can increase your attack. Because we don't care about speed, so we can easily lower that, and increasing our attack and defense, we're going to do more damage, and we're going to be able to take more attacks. So generally, Curse is a pretty darn good move. Then at level 73 in X and Y, or level 43 in Auras, thank you Auras, level 73, what? We have Iron Head, which is your stab move. It's going to do decent damage. chance to flinch, not that you really want to rely on that too much, but it has a chance. So yeah, this is your basic sort of damage dealer. It can also learn Flash Cannon, I think at the same level in both games, or at least it is in X and Y, which will be your equivalent if you're going for a special Registeel. So if you do want to go for that, that's your alternative there. However, Curse is going to benefit Ironhead a bit more. Or at all, whereas Flash Cannon, it wouldn't benefit from Curse. Anyway, moving on to some TMs, we have TM06 Toxic. Being a bulky Pokemon, we're not going to be doing huge amounts of damage with our attacks, so Toxic is a viable choice just to put on the opponent and slowly work down their health points that way. Then TM17 Protect. Because we're bulky, we're generally going to be running Leftovers or some other health and restoration method, so Protect would be nice because we can just protect up a turn and get some extra health points back. Then, if we don't have Leftovers or any of our health point restoration method, which we actually don't for Registeel, because it doesn't have any, like, it doesn't have Wish, it doesn't have, I don't know, Restore, stuff like that, it has Rest. So TM44 Rest, it's going to rest up for a turn, or, well, it's going to go to sleep for however many turns. Then we have TM73 Thunderwave, alternative to Toxic here. If you don't want to kill the opponent, you just want to cripple them, you can paralyze them, halve their speed, and then possibly stop them from attacking you at all. Obviously, depending on the set you're using or the enemy you're facing, you might want to use a different move. But yeah, Thunderwave is there as the alternative. Then, doubling TM44 Rest, we have TM88 Sleep Talk. Have you ever noticed that, guys, before? TM44 is Rest. Double 44, you get 88. Sleep Talk. Rest and Sleep Talk go hand in hand. So if you're resting, you could think about running Sleep Talk as well, because you rest, and then you can actually use Sleep Talk for the next 2 or so turns, and, you know, attack, basically, or you'd hope at least, if you have that attacking move on your, you know, move set. Then, moving on to a tutor move here, we have Stealth Rock. Being bulky, we have the ability, you know, we're able to use Stealth Rock to set up, you know, on the opponent's side. Because we're bulky, we can we have a free turn almost. So we don't need to worry about taking a bit of damage at the start. We can just Stealth Rock up, and in all ways we can survive for later on to put some more Stealth Rocks up. Then we have one transfer move. We don't see these too often. Transfer move only from Generation 5, which is Seismic Toss, which is going to do the amount of damage in your level, basically. So I think in X and Y, it's level 50, isn't it? I can't remember. I don't wife about X and Y too much. I think it's level 50. Or on Smogon, it's level 100, I'm pretty sure. But that's going to do 50 or 100 damage. This is looking the case that you don't really want, you're not boosting your stats up much, you're not putting any EVs in there or the nature in there, so Seismic Toss might do more damage than your other moves would. It's a possibility, but generally Ironhead is going to do you well. However, Seismic Toss is a backup. Then again, it is transfer from Gen 5, which is hard now, so you could always just think about running Ironhead rather. It might be just a bit more efforts to get Seismic Toss rather than just using Ironhead. So let's look at the sets. We have 2 sets here. One is sort of a curse set, and the other one is more of just a general bulk set, I guess, or a specially bulk set. Curse is going to increase our attack and defense, so we're having sort of more of a physically defensive set here. So we have Curse, Rest, Sleep Talk or Toxic, and then Ironhead. Ability is Clear Body. Nature is a careful one. Held item is a Leftovers, and the EVs are maximum health points, maximum special defense, and the rest in physical defense. So, looking at the moveset first up, as I mentioned, Curse is going to increase our physical defense and our physical attack as well, which is pretty good. It's going to lower our speed, however we don't really need speed at all, so we're not too worried about that. Then we have Rest, which is our health point restoration method, along with Leftovers as our item. Rest is good. Once we get down to, say, a quarter health points, you can use Rest. Restore all your health points. You are going to go to sleep, however, but as you see in the next move slot, you can run Sleep Talk here, Sleep Talk up, and then hopefully you either use Ironhead or Curse. You don't want to use Rest again, obviously, but using Ironhead or Curse, whichever one you use, it's not really losing you too much, because Ironhead's just going to put some damage on the opponent. Curse is going to increase your attack and defense even more. So really, as long as you get one of those 2 moves, you can't really go wrong too much there. Unless, of course, you're facing a special attacker, in which case you might want to think about switching out anyway. Our final move, as I mentioned, is Ironhead, because that's our damage dealing move. It's the best move it gets, especially for a physical Registeel. I was about to say Regigears then, that would have been wrong. Alternatively, instead of Sleep Talk, you could run Toxic, so if you just want to sort of rely on cursing up enough so that when you rest, you can actually take enough attacks to not die before, not get in a loop of rest, take attacks, rest, so you can actually do something In the battle, you could run Toxic, just sort of another method to work down your opponent's health. So if you curse once or twice, then Toxic, then Rest, you're going to be able to stall out a Rest hopefully, and they're eventually going to go with Toxic. That would be the idea there. Clear Body is our ability because it's the only one available, but it's the one we want to use anyway. Careful Nature is going to increase our special defense and lower our special attack because we're not using special attack. And the reason we're increasing our special defense here, along with the maximum special defense EVs, is because we're going to be increasing our physical defense anyway with Curse. So we're sort of going to, you don't want to put all your stuff in physical defense because your special defense is then going to be terrible. If you put enough in special defense, that's going to be pretty decent, and then Curse is going to go even higher for physical defense. So that's sort of, it's the balancing out. You don't want to focus all your resources into one defense because then the other one's just going to come along, or the special attack is just going to come along and flick you off the battlefield, because that'll be as easy as it is if you don't balance out your defenses enough. Leftovers as a held item is obvious because we want some extra health, but restoration we don't want to rely on just rest. And then EV's maximum health points just to give us some all-around bulk, maximum special defense to balance it out as I mentioned, and then the rest in physical defense just to put a bit extra in there, even though Curse is going to do most of the work for us. How would you use this set? Well, as I mentioned earlier, you sort of want to go in, Curse once or twice, so you can actually take attacks pretty well, and then once you get down to lower health, use Toxic if you're running it, so while you're rest stalling, the opponent is going to slowly die or have to switch out. Or if not running Toxic, just Curse, rest, and then Sleep Talk, and then hopefully, Sleep Talk is a bit of a dodgy move, you have to rely on luck almost, but hopefully you can get some Iron Heads off or extra curses just to do some damage or increase defenses even more, and just go on like that really. It's really a stall set here, but you want to play it conservative. You don't want to say, okay, I'm just going to rest, Sleep Talk, sleep. If they send a special attacker in that's, for example, a fire type, you want to think about switching out because you're not going to last too long there. You're not going to be able to do rests. You're going to be taken out in 2 turns, basically. So, I mean, even though your special defense is high, it's not as high. So, especially if they're a pretty powerful special attacker, they're going to be able to do some decent damage to you. So, you might want to think about switching out and keeping Registeel later on. Because if you're facing just physical attackers with Registeel and a curse set, you are going to be in with some good luck because you can just bulk up your physical defense and they won't be able to touch you because you'll be able to restore all the health points up as they do it to you. Whereas if you're left with loads of special attackers to defeat, it's not as good. So then the second set here, if we look at this is more of a special defensive set, so focusing more on, I guess all around rather than just purely physical defense with Curse. So the moveset is going to be Stealth Rock, Toxic or Thunder Wave, Seismic Toss or Iron Head you could put there, and then Protect. Ability is a Clear Body again, Nature is a calm one, held item again as Leftovers, and then EV is putting maximum health points, maximum special defense, and the rest in physical defense once more. So the moveset first. Stealth Rock is so we can go in, Stealth Rock, and that's it. Stealth Rock's very helpful. You could run Stealth Rock on the first set as well instead of Sleep Talk or Toxic, possibly. But really there's not enough room in the first set, I would say, for Stealth Rock, whereas in the second set, we don't have to have Curse. We're not relying as much on this isn't a stall set, this isn't a set to keep on going. It's sort of you go in, you do a few things, and then you sort of switch out. You don't want, it's not relying on you to carry on restoring your health points up, hence there's no rest, hence we don't need to even think about Sleep Talk, which frees up a lot of slots. So Stealth Rock's there as your first move. Toxic or Thunder Wave depends on how you want to play it. If you want to go for Toxic and then try and stall out with Protect while their health points goes down, that's fair enough. If you want to go for Thunder Wave and cripple the opponent for your other party members to end up, coming in and finish you off, then go for that. Seismic Toss is there. You could run Iron Head, obviously, because we're not exactly reducing our physical attack, we're just not having anything to increase it. Like we have with the first set, we had Curse, which is going to increase our physical attack, so we can actually do some extra damage, whereas Seismic Toss, or this set here, there's no Curse, so Seismic Toss might be a better choice in some cases, but you can run Iron Head instead if you don't want to get the move transferred up. Or you could run Toxic and Thunder Wave and just have no way to attack them, but then again, that's not always the best way. Then finally we have Protect. This is more for if you're Toxic stalling or if you just need some extra health points for your Leftovers. You can just go Protect and then Seismic Toss, Protect, just go like that, just so you get the most health points you can. However, you have to be careful because then they can predict your Protect, switch out into something that can then deal with you, and then you're screwed basically. So you have to be careful with that. Don't get into the habit of just protect, attack. Read your opponent, see what they're doing, and figure out. Maybe try and double and sort of double switch them, or double predict, I guess. You know, they're going to predict you to protect, so they're going to switch out to say their fire type special attacker, which you know because obviously you saw their team at the start. So say it's a Charizard, you think, aha, I've got this, so you can then switch out into, I don't know, Greninja or whatever counters Charizard on your team, and then they're in sort of a sticky situation as well, so you can predict it like that, so just be careful there. Ability, you know, that's obviously a clear body there. Nature is a calm one, slightly different to the careful one. Calm increases special defense and lowers physical attack, so that's the reason for using Seismic Toss there. You don't really need to use calm nature, you can use careful, or you can use a nature that increases physical defense possibly, but we're going almost full special defense here, because that's sort of the one that they're less likely to go for, you know. So then you see a Registeel, you think, oh, that's going to be really physically bulky. So if you make yourself especially bulky more than physically, you're going to take attacks from them a bit better. But yeah, don't know why you'd run a calm nature really. You can run careful instead, like we had before, so you can use Iron Head, but yeah. If you're using Seismic Toss, it doesn't really matter, you know. Seismic Toss, sure, go and use a calm nature, because you don't really care about your physical attack anyway, because it's based on your level. But if you're using Iron Head, go for a careful nature there, best too. But yeah, held item leftovers for the health and restoration there, and then EVs, same as before, just giving us bulk all around, and then special defense boost, because we're being specially defensive, and a bit extra in defense, because why not, you know, just put it in there and boost that up a little bit. How would you use this set? Well, you might want to lead off with it at the start of the game, you know, set some Stealth Rocks up to begin with. You could protect and just sort of scout what they're going to do, and then sort of, this is more of a conservative one. You sort of want to go in, Stealth Rock, maybe find a wave, and then switch out and come back in again, and switch out, you know, and come back in again, and keep it around for later on when you could set up more Stealth Rocks, or Toxic more opponents, or Thunder Wave more opponents, because also you have Protect with leftovers, so you can sort of hang around a bit longer. If you're playing it conservative, don't just go in and think, okay, I'm just going to attack. That's not the best way to play this set at all. But yeah, that's sort of how you use that set, and that's sort of it for this week's episode of the Pokemon DataDex covering Registeel. Now, as I mentioned at the start, next week's episode is going to be a mascot episode, and I can reveal the person joining me, or the conductor joining me next week, will be Patters, and we'll be covering Darkrai. You guys are in luck. You're getting 2 legendaries in a row. Not too long ago we had Jirachi as well. So many legendaries coming at you guys. If you're excited for that episode with Patters and myself covering the one and only Darkrai, let me know down below in the comment section by, you know, commenting it, and also hit the like button, and also, as I mentioned before, mascot episodes, suggest what other conductors you'd like to see, and what other Pokemon you'd like to see them cover. So they don't necessarily have to cover their mascot. For example, Mo didn't cover Espeon, because I've already covered that. Mo covered Jirachi. So if there's another, you know, Pokemon that the conductor is known for, you could suggest that as well. But drop some comments below, guys, hit the like button if you enjoyed the episode, but for now, this is going to be it for me for today. I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.